So, so before I jumped to the today's topic, I'll just give a brief review about my journey so far, my experience so far. So, my majority of experience into the investments, investment banking, financial research, startup consulting, startup ecosystem, and I have worked with various several organization. If I name some, I was working with IIM Lucknow Incubation Center. Then I worked with Shivnadri University's Incubation Center. Apart from that, I have also worked in the corporate as well. As I was working with the Moody's Analytics. It is a UK-based listed company. So you can, say that my core experience into the financial management come startup consulting. So today's topic is basically related to the basics and the advance, the basic and the advance of the startup funding. So we will start with the basics and we'll move to the complex strategies that the startup faces in their fundraising life cycle. For that, I would request that please allow me to share my screen.
Yeah, sir. You can share it.
Yeah, just let me know once it is visible.
Yes, sir, visible. Yes.
Okay. I'm just putting it on slideshow mode. Yeah. So in this PPT, for there are 5 6 PPTs that I have prepared for the today's session. So first I'll cover the basics related to the startup investment. Later on we'll move to the complex things. So first, so as we all know that the startup journey is full of adventure, filled up with ups and downs, twists and turns. So the only thing that matters is that startup founder should have the passion, perseverance, and the little bit of luck to take the startup from the ideation stage to the scale up stage, right? So in the startups life cycle, there are 3 4 things that are crucial, or I can say 3 4 stages that are crucial to take the startup at the growth level. So number one is the ideation stage. So ideation stage is basically the where the idea generates, or where the startup founder able to identify the problem on which he wants to work. And next stage comes into the picture is the validation stage. Once you have the promising idea in place, it is now it is time to test that idea with the real world. So in that stage, the startup founder can talk to the potential customer, gather feedback and according to their feedback, they can iterate their product or concept, and later on convert that offering into the full-fledged product. Next stage comes into the picture is the minimum viable product. So minimum viable product is nothing. It is a basic skeleton of your thought process or the idea that you have already validated through the market. Now it is time to convert that idea into the basic
Chắc mình lấy
skeleton.
bất cứ thì tao mới có sự lấy cái này. Cái thằng tao mới đi mình.
Can you please mute yourself? Roll number
Roll number
27.
18, kindly noted, you can unmuted. जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट कोई माइक ओपन करता है तो उनको म्यूट कीजिए.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking about the minimum viable product. So it is the stage in which the startup get the validation of his idea. Now it's time to convert that idea into a basic skeleton, which can be taken forward to the real market and receive the feedback and data from the early adopters of that particular product. Next stage comes into the picture is the traction stage. If you are once the MVP is into the market, and you are getting the feedback from the customers of positive feedback or negative feedback, and on the basis of that you have made the necessary iterations, and now you are getting the early sales or early engagement from your customer. So this is the stage we are when you are getting the early traction with respect to your product. Next stage comes into the picture is the scaling stage. So with the traction comes, now it is time to scale the product. So in the scaling stage, you need to commercialize your product and do some early sales. So for that, you need to build a team infrastructure, and take a product to meet the demand of the customers. Last and ultimate stage is the growth stage. When your product is full-fledged ready, there are some good sales into your company, and now your target is to achieve the sustainable growth. Sustainable growth, I mean that you have the recurring revenue in place, you are generating the good revenue, you are churning out the good profits, your margins are improving over the year. So these are the few stages in the startup life cycle. And at the various stages, the fundings comes a vital role to support the startup. So if I explain this bit more, so at the ideation stage, the bootstrap and the funding from the friends and family will play the crucial role to take the idea to the MVP stage at least. And at the MVP stage, the angel investor or the seed fund investors can provide you a good amount of capital to do some R&D, to do some iteration on your product and take the product at the traction stage, or you can say uh, at the scaling stage. So once the product comes at this traction stage, means when you have some early adopters of your product, or if you have some POs in hand, or if you have done some early stage. So this is the lucrative stage for the investors from the VC industries, where they prefer to invest, and that stage is referred to as Series A, Series B funding. Similarly, scaling and traction are the just a step ahead for the funding. So this in this scaling stage, the VC funds and the private equity funds comes into the picture from the investment perspective, and this stage is preferably known as Series B, Series C, Series D. So why funding matters? So the few things that I consider that are important for a startup in terms of funding is that number one is that fuel the growth and scaling the operation. So funding is very important if you want to grow, if you want to scale your operation, and this is the ultimate goal from the startup perspective. So, in that context, the securing the vital resource for expansion in terms of technology, infrastructure, and inventory. So you would need the funds. And if you want to improve your operational efficiency and achieve the break even in terms of profits and margin, then for that purpose, you also need the funds. And if you're looking to expand into new geographies and markets, and take your product to the global level, for that also you would need a good amount of fund, also the industry connect as well. Next point is for the purpose of hiring the top talent and retaining them into the company, so that they can focus on improving your product, generating your sales, and ultimately improving the margins and profits. For that purpose, you would need to retain the good people in your company, and for that you have to pay them handsome money. So for that purpose, you would need funding. And again, the next point would be related to the market and the selling and the customer acquisition. So to attract the customer, to do the marketing, uh, and bring on new customers, bring on repetitive customers for your product or services. For that, there is an indirect expense related to the market, and for that purpose, you would need the funding to sustain your operations. So this slide is basically depicting the various type of fundings, right, at the various stages. As I mentioned, the bootstrap is the kind of funding in which the startup founder infuse money from his personal savings, incomes, or the revenue generated from the early sales. I would say the advantage of this kind of funding would be that the ownership and the control remains in the hand of the founder. Like no one is standing on his head and taking the report every time. So this is one of the key advantage of the bootstrap funding. The disadvantage is that this amount of fund is limited with a certain cap. Like in my person capacity, I can infuse only certain amount uh, up to my savings. So for that purpose, it will impact my growth. It will impact my speed of scalability. So that is one of the key disadvantage with the bootstrap funding. And friends and family funding is one of the kind of funding when you raise the fund from your friends and family and close networks. The advantage of this kind of funding is that the investor get the access to the early capital. The founder get the access to the early capital, and there is a emotional support and mentorship from your close ones who are investing in your idea. The disadvantage is that if you are not entering into a legal agreement, or if you are not entering into a legal compliance thing, not fulfilling the compliance with respect to that funding that you are raising from your friends and family, that can hamper your relationship in the later stage. So it's an advice from my end that you should enter into a legal agreement whenever you are raising fund, whether it is from your friends and family, whether it is your parents, and of course if you're raising from angel investors or the VC fund, they will definitely go into the legal agreement. Next type of funding is the angel investors. So angel investors are the wealthy individual who invest into the early stage startup in exchange of equity or convertible debt. So there are so many HNIs available into the market, into the industries, and they are well connected with the angel houses. If I name some, there are Chennai Angels, Chandigarh Angels, Hyderabad Angels. So what they have done, they have created a pool of such angel investor, or so-called HNIs, who invest into the startup through these angel houses. And the advantage of this kind of funding is that you will get the access to the valuable expertise and mentorship, and you will have the potential for the larger investment amounts. And the disadvantage of this kind of funding is that there is a competitive landscape. You have to go through the rigorous due diligence in the documentation, and also there is a chance that you will going to dilute a good percentage from your cap table, and which will result in the loss of control in overall company. So whenever you go into any deal closure with any angel investor, make sure that you get the fair valuation of the company, which would result in the low dilution of your equity. So the next type of funding is the venture capital fund. So these are the professional fund that invest in the high growth potential startup with expectation of the significant return. So in the terms of check size, these are the one of the prominent ones, or I would say uh, one of the investor who have the big check size, and they prefer to invest large amount of funds. And in terms of advantage, they provide the extensive network and resources and strategic guidance to the startup founder to take their idea or to take their product at the multiple X growth. And the disadvantage of this kind of funding is that you will lose a significant share from your ownership, as someone is coming with a big ticket size, right? The preferred ticket size with these investors is between $2 million to $10 million, and they rigorously look after your business. They will ask for the performance expectations, and there is a lengthy fundraising process. So these are the four types of funding available in the startup life cycle. So if I deep dive into the detail of each of these, so bootstrap, as I already mentioned, that the bootstrap is nothing but when the founder infuse money from his personal saving, that is called as bootstrap. And pros and cons I already discussed. So bootstrap funding is ideal for the kind of business which are less capital intensive, like the online business, which have low overhead costs, scalable operations. Service-based businesses recurring revenue, which have recurring revenue from clients, provide steady cash flow. And the companies which are operating on the software, which require less capex in terms of land building and asset machinery. So these kind of funding are ideal for these businesses. And if I talk about the friends and family funding, so friends and family is basically when you are tapping your own network for the fundraising. So the features of this kind of funding is that the one who are supporting you are the passionate believers in your idea, And when you have already raised your initial capital through bootstrap funding, they comes into the picture at that stage, and they will also provide you the networks, and also they will help you in terms of providing a good word of mouth that will ultimately result in generate that will ultimately result in increase in the sales and the early customers. So one important point that I would like to highlight, that whenever you are entering any kind of fundraising through funds and family, I would recommend that please go into the agreements, like a legal agreement that would not hamper your relationship in the early stage, in the later stage. And also you should be legally compliant with the all the applicable compliances, so that you fulfill all the applicable requirement from the various laws. Also, you should understand the tax implications for you, for yourself, as well as for your investor. Also, you need to be very clear about the IP protection. What I mean through that, that whenever friends and when you raise the funds from friends and family, you should be very clear about where any IP generated within the company should remain in the name of company, right? Uh, it should not be the case that any friends and family investor comes into the picture in the later stage and he claims that I have invested in your company. Now the IP should be belong to me. So you should have a clear agreement with them that any IP generated through my innovation should remain in the name of company. So these things are need to be kept in mind whenever you are raising the funds through friends and family, and also try to comply with applicable laws, and always enter into a legal agreement for the fundraising purpose. So angel investors, from the perspective of angel investors, so who are they? Angel investors are the individual who invest their own money in the early stage, high growth business, typically startups. They act as a guardian angels, providing crucial financial backing at the critical stage when traditional funding sources might be hesitant. And what is the purpose, and or you can say what is the motivation behind these investment? So while financial returns are the motivators, angel investors are often driven by the passion for supporting the innovative, fostering entrepreneurship and helping promising business to take flight. They may also seeking the thrill of being involved in the ground floor, potentially groundbreaking ventures. So who are the individual who invest in a startup? As I already mentioned, that the people who are, have the who have become the HNIs, high net worth individuals, or who have the individual or the professional who holds the wealthy experience and expertise through their life, and they may be successful entrepreneurs, seasoned executives, angel groups, or tech-savvy individual who with a keen eye for promising ventures. So what else angel investor brings? So angel investors are the one who brings a rich experience and expertise from the various industries, various in the various sectors, and they can guide you and mentor you to in terms of how you can take your product or your service to the next level of scalability, right? Apart from that, angel groups provides you the network and the opportunity to have the pilot opportunity at the various corporate levels as well. Next is venture capital funds. So venture capital is a type of financing that fuel high growth early stage in the early stage business with the potential for explosive expansion. VC firms and the funds inject capital into these companies in exchange of equity ownership, becomes a partner in their success. Key points that we need to take care when we are talking about the venture capital funding. So this is a high risk and high reward game. VC investments carry the significant risk as many startup fails. However, successful exits through acquisition or IPOs can generate massive returns. They only focus on innovation. VC firm seeks to back company with disruptive technology and innovative business model that address the large addressable market, right? And they always prefer to invest with a long-term horizon, right? And in the exchange of investment, they generally ask for the equity stake for its capital, and the ownership stake represent the portion of the company's ownership and entitles the VC firm to board representation, dividend rights, and liquidation preference as well. So next slide is basically related to how to find the investor and where to find the investors. So whenever there are multiple opportunities and there are multiple avenues where you can find the investor. If I name some, so you can attend or participate in the conferences, meetups, workshop, uh, to meet up with the investors. Like there are several events going on over the year, around the year, in various trades, various districts, to support the startups and engagement with the investors. So you can participate into such events and conferences. One quick point, whenever you meet with investor, so you need to refine, do some market research, what kind of investor you are looking for, and according to that you need to check that that is that particular investor is participating into that event, and accordingly you need to prepare your one liner about your company. Investor will not going to give you time whenever they will be into the event. So you have to ready with your one liner that, hey, this is my product, I'm solving this problem, and the core customer will be this and the outcome will be this. So to jot down these 4 points, you need to create a one liner about your business, and quickly you can throw this line to the investor, and these are the basic points or basic avenues where the investor finds the catch that this startup is looking good. So on the basis of that one liner, you can lead that conversation to the investment thing. So be ready with your one liner whenever you are into the event, that you can quickly throw to the investor and seek his interest. So, oh yeah. So as I mentioned, through networking and building relationship, industry events and conferences, and yeah, online platform and forums. So there are few online platforms that provides the data related to the startups and investors. So there is an online platform named as Traction. So this is a database which contains the details of all the investors who prefer to invest at the various stages and their preferred sector and ticket size. So you need to segregate these things according what suits as per your business. So this is one of the platform where you can find the prominent investors. Apart from that, you can also get in touch with the accelerators, incubators. They will help you out. The ecosystem is, building up, and ecosystem is now maturing. All the incubators and accelerator are well connected with the VC industry, angel investors. This is one of the avenues where you can find the relevant investors for your startup. So next thing is that when yeah, whenever you need the funding, so there are few things that you need to be ready beforehand. One of the thing is the pitch deck. You need to prepare your compelling pitch deck, so that you have something in your hand to present to the investors. So we will talk about this in detail in the coming slides or in the coming presentation. But the core things or the core elements of the pitch deck are the problem and solution, market opportunity, business model, team, financials, and ask. And once you are able to deliver your pitch to the investor, and in case they found you suitable, so this stage later on the stage comes is the due diligence. So So whenever the startups goes into the due diligence stage, he should be able to understand the whole process. And for that purpose, you need to be ready with certain set of documents. Also, you need to do your own due diligence about your business. Like, first of all, you need to identify the good investor as per your requirement. Later on, you need to do a market research about your product. Who are all the competitors? What is the feedback of your customer with respect to your product, right? And how you will be going to compete with your competitors, and what kind of market share you can extract from your competitors, right? Apart from that, you have to prepare the detailed financial projections. Just give me a moment, I have an urgent call.
गेल्यानंतर खाली आणलं का तिला
हा
कारण भैया म्हणलं होता ना
नाही वरती त्यांचं चेंजिंग वगैरे भरपूर बाकी होतं ना अर्धा तास लागला
चेंजिंग काय केलं साडी किती होती ड्रेसच घातला
जास्त ना आताच सलाईन वगैरे
Hello. I'll just take 5 minutes. Something urgent come up. So just give me 5 minutes. I'll be back. Right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm really sorry. Something urgent come up. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir, all you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, I was talking about the due diligence. So, we have covered the competitive landscape. So, yeah. So, you need to highlight in terms of team expertise, you need to highlight the team experience qualification about your team, advisors, and partners. Also, you need to outline your operational plan, technology infrastructure, and scalability potential. Apart from that, you need to do the risk assessment, identify potential risk, and develop mitigation strategies to address the investors' concern. Next is related to the building the trust and the credibility. So you should be very transparent and open for communication whenever your startups goes into the due diligence stage. Be honest, upfront about your business, you know, even highlight your potential challenges. Also, anything you are presenting to the investors in terms of financials, in terms of business model, that should be backed by the verified data and the market research. You need to prepare the compelling pitch and refine your pitch delivery as well whenever you are meeting to the investors. Also, believe in your vision and communicate it with the enthusiasm and confidence. Apart from that, whenever you are presenting to an investor, demonstrate your traction. It creates a positive impact. If you have early sales or if you have some POs in head, highlight that specifically, and so that it makes a lucrative deal for the investor as well to invest into your company. You can also highlight the third-party endorsements, like you can leverage positive testimonials from your advisor, industry experts, or early adopters. And also, I would like to highlight that please be professional and punctual whenever you are presenting to the investors. Also, the next point is in the due diligence part is that prepare for the investor questions. Like you prepare answers for the frequently asked questions about the financial competitions, market strategy, exit plans. So these are the few key questions, or you can say the common questions that the every investor will going to ask you whenever you going for the fundraise process. Also practice your pitch delivery, rehearse your pitch delivery, and take the feedback from your team or your co-founder how you can refine. So you need to work on that. Also, and you need to have the overview understanding of the whole investment process, like what is the term sheet, what is the triple SHA, what is the cap table, dilution, valuation, financial model. So do some research on that as well and understand the whole process of investment. Also prepare the follow-up materials like the investor deck, financial model, other relevant documents that should be beforehand ready whenever you are go into the investment raising process with an investor. Also, try to focus on the how to address the difficult questions, like what is your long-term vision respect to your company? Like how will be going to give us exit? Will you be able to 10x your growth in coming 3 years or 5 years? So you have to strategize your answer according to these different questions as well. Also, be ready for the negotiation. Like do some homework with respect to the valuation, and also be open for the negotiation as well. Like I would say, don't be rigid with a specific number. If you are thinking that this investor can bring a strategic move into your company, be flexible with the valuation as well. So I think in this presentation, that's it from my end. I will move to the another presentation. If you have any questions, we can take. Otherwise, let's start with the another session. Okay, how to find angel investor for sports sector. So as I mentioned, there is a database available into the market right? There's a database name as Traction. So you can apply your filter with sports specific sector, and the angel investors you can choose, and you will get the list of search investors. What are the risks involved in bootstrapping? So risk is only that you are the only founder. You will run out of money very soon, right? And in case your startup idea will not, go well, or convert into the next stage, then you will lose your personal money, as well as you will lose your resource, you will lose your time. So it is advisable to go to certain extent with bootstrapping, and later on validate your idea, validate your product, and look for the VC funds and the angel investor fund, so that they can bring up the mentorship as well as the strategic advice, that they can advise in such a way that you haven't think about that, and they can help you to take your business to the next level. Okay, let's move to the next part of the session, that is prerequisites of the startup funding. It is basically means that what are the things that that are beforehand ready when you are raising to the when you're going into the market for the fundraise. So I would say you should have, I have listed out few things, but we will discuss these in more detail. So whenever you are going for the fundraise into the market, the few things that should be before and ready are the, you should have the clear business model in place. You have done the good market research about your product, about your competitors. If you have the traction in place, you should highlight that as well. And also you have the clear path how you will going to utilize that fund, and what are the key milestones that you will be going to achieve from these funds. Apart from that, you should build a good team, strong team, who should support you in terms of converting your idea or converting your prototype into your full-fledged product. They have the relevant expertise and experience with respect to your business. You should be well compliant with the applicable compliances, and the financial projection should be beforehand ready whenever you are in the process of fundraising process. So in detail, as I mentioned, the clear business idea should be in place with you. Like you should be able to explain the business idea in clear, concise manner, how it is going to make life better for your customer. What are your unique value propositions? You should have done the good market research. I mean, you should have done the deep dive into your industry trends, know your audience inside out, clear, actionable market strategy. You should have solid business plan in place, like the activities and the resources need to deliver your value proposition. What will be your key revenue streams? How you are projecting your growth? And next is traction and milestones. So you need to showcase your key customers who you have acquired over the period of time. You need to show how you are well connected with your customer, how is the retention rate in terms of keeping your customers. Also, you need to highlight your partnership, your supply chain partners, media mention or awards. You can also showcase your key product launches, features, releases, and technical achievements. Also, you can also emphasize on significant growth that you have made over the period of time. As I mentioned that strong team is one of the key point where the investor look like the investor is only betting on the founder and the execution team. So you need to emphasize on your team in such a way that makes the lucrative deal for the investor. So do highlight about your experience, team expertise, and qualification. Also, as I mentioned, then financial projections are the key things that helps in driving the valuation of the company. So you need to prepare the financial projection, which should include the revenue drivers, what are the how the growth projected over the period of time, or details about the operating expenses, what are your fund requirement and the utilization. Next is related to the legal and compliances. So you should be well compliant with the all the applicable compliances into the various laws. So make sure that whenever you are going for the fundraising process, you should be, complete with all the applicable compliances in the various law, be it Companies Act, be it MSME Act, be it obtaining the necessary certifications or the license from the various authorities. So make sure that these all things are already in place. Also, you can talk about the exit strategy, like what is your plan, what is your vision with respect to your company uh, for taking this to the next level. Are you planning for the acquisition in the later stage? Are you looking for the IPO for your company? Or how will be going to give exit to the investor? Will it be through the secondary sale of the equities of the investors? So do work on these points. Also, this is the basic checklist of the document that should be before and ready when you are in talk with any investor. So if I name some, you should have the certificate of incorporation, DIPP registration, MSME registration, PAN 10 GST, IAC certification, MOA, AOA, and and the cap table should be clear with respect to the who are the promoters, who are the investors, who are the angel investors, and what kind of arrangement are there with the other investors. All the investment agreement should be in place, all the incubation agreement should be in place. You should have the proper ESOP policy in place. In respect to the business and financials, you should prepare the documents in the form of business model, business plan of the company. What is the prospect of the company with respect to their product demand in India and abroad? You should share the details with the investor related to the POs, obtain invoices over the year, how the sales pipeline look like, who are the competitors into that particular industry, and what is your USP, what is key differentiator you are bringing on the table, so that investor can invest in your company. And if you have any validation report from your client, that would be key things to validate your product. Also, description about the product, financial projection about your company, audited financial for last 3-4 years, provision financial statements. So these are the basic key documents that should be ready beforehand. Apart from that, there are few additional documents that the investor will definitely look for, but I have give you the overview, like what are the basic key documents that should be beforehand ready when you are in the process of raising the funds. So this is how, squeeze your time of due diligence, squeeze your time in terms of preparing the documents again. So these are the few documents that should be prepared, that should be ready beforehand when you are in the process of raising the funds. Okay, if we disclose our idea in front of our friend, there will be chance of hijacking the idea. Please put more on this, how we can keep, okay. So one of the way to protect your idea, to protect your product is to it should be secured through IP, right? So if you believe that you have done some innovation with respect to any product or services, make sure that it should be protected by the IP. So once the IP in place with respect to your product, no one can copy that particular product or service, because it is compliant by law. Okay, then let's move to the next part. Yeah. So next part is related to the how to prepare a pitch deck. Like, so far we have discussed what is the stage of the startup, what kind of funding are required at the various stages, what are the things or the documents that should be beforehand ready when you are in the process of raising the fund. Now, the most important documents comes into the picture is the preparing the pitch deck. Like, what should be the ideal format for the pitch deck? So in this presentation, I'll cover these parts. So aesthetically it is not very good, but you can prepare according to your design or thing. But I am giving you the basic things that should be covered into the pitch deck. Yeah. So uh, so from my own experience, I can say that I made this format how to create the pitch deck from my own experience. So slide number one should be solely related to the name of the startup and the tagline of your company. So you should do some brainstorming, spend some time with your co-founder and the team to decide the tagline of your company. And tagline should, uh, should be related to the name of your company only, right? It should not be the out of box that is not relating to your company. It should write the name of the company. Like if we see in the name of in the case of Uber, so Uber is related to the mobility and the commuting with one place to another place. So their tagline is moving the world forward. If you see the tagline of KFC, so the KFC is from the FMCG industry, fast food. So their tagline is something finger licking good. So these are the tagline and the name of the company are interrelated to each other. Like the tagline itself is explaining the ultimate product of the company. So you should do some brainstorming, spend some time, and decide the tagline of the company, which highlights the ultimate business of your company. So this slide number two should depict the one-liner description about the company, right? So what I mean by that is that I'll explain this through an example. Like I sell a product A. So A is depicting the product. I sell a A to B. B is my core customer, and B has the problem of C, and B can solve C by D. So D is depicting the value proposition. So in this whole sentence, we have covered what is my product, what is who are my core customer, what is the problem statement is there, and what is the value proposition that I'm bringing on the table to solve the problem of my core customer. So you need to define your business model in one liner or in such a way that it should cover your product, core customer, pain point, and the value proposition. Slide number three should be related to the problem statement, like what kind of problem you are addressing and what is the pain point you are basically solving through this business idea. And slide number four should be focused on the proposed solution. What kind of solution you are bringing in against that particular problem. So, so you should be able to explain the solution being offered in simple one-liner and explain how you solve the pain point of the core customer and add a line about business model and revenue model, basically how you'll be going to money through this particular business solution. Next slide is related to the core product or services that you are building to solve that particular problem in respect of that particular solution. So in this slide, you should mainly focus on the technical features, core features of your product, how you'll be going to utilize, what is the mechanism to use that particular product or services, what are the functionalities of that product or services, what are the benefit, what is the price point at at which you are targeting to sell that product, what is the state of that particular product as of now, and also if possible show the screenshot if, maybe in the digital form, or use the picture of the physical product. Also ensure to showcase if this product is protected by any IPR or not. Next slide should highlight about the what is your unique value proposition. Like what are the core value of that particular product which makes significant value, core advantages over the other alternative available in the market. What are the feature advantages and benefits with respect to that particular product. Next slide should depict the traction. So if you have raised any funds so far, at what valuation you can showcase that. If you have some early sales, if you have some customers in place or repetitive customers in place, you can show that as well. If you have received any awards, recognition for your company or promoters, you can showcase that as well. And also you can also highlight the shareholding pattern of the company. If any known institution or known angel investor, known VC fund have invested into your company, you can also highlight that we are associated in terms of investment with this particular investor. Also in this slide number 8, you need to highlight the who are the core customer. Explain who is your core customer and why they will buy from you and will take services from you. Use the customer persona template to showcase the ideal customers, what are the target customer segment, and the clear customer profile in terms of geography, social, and demography. In the slide number 9, you need to define your TAM, SAM, and SOM. So TAM is basically the total addressable market, and SAM is basically the serviceable addressable market, and SOM is basically the serviceable obtainable market. So I'll explain it through an example. Like if I'm willing to open a restaurant in the Noida location, so the total addressable market is the whole country. Like I want to take my business to whole country. But as of now, I'm operating in the Noida location. So for me, serviceable optimal market is up to Noida only or Greater Noida only, right? Because with the limited resources, with the limited people in place, and with the limited overall resources, I'll be obtain this much of market only, right? And serviceable optimal market is the actual market that I will be able to cater with my available resources. Through this, what I mean, suppose I'm operating in a specific location of Noida, suppose in sector 62, right? For me, there are multiple other restaurants are there already into the market. I need to identify what can I bring into the market in terms of unique value proposition that I can extract some share from my existing competitors. So that is the actual serviceable optimal market, right? So this in this slide number 10, you need to showcase the competitive landscape, like who are the competitors into that particular industries, and list down the various features like features, price point, cost, and other parameters, so that you can give the honest feedback, honest picture to the investor that where you are lacking on where you are doing good with respect to your competitor. In this slide, you need to show the financial information and forecast. And number one is that unit economics, like you need to define the per unit revenue that you are making with comparison to the per unit cost, including direct cost, indirect cost. So unit economics is basically works to identify whether are we able to generate revenue higher than the customer acquisition cost or not, right? And in this slide, you need to highlight the current traction, and that could be in terms of number of users served so far, what are the sales numbers, number of repetitive orders, and what is the month-on-month growth. Also, you need to talk about the customer acquisition cost, monthly burn rate, margins, etc. And what is the break-even point for your organization to reach? What is the break-even point for your organization? Like how much time will it take to reach at the break-even point? If you are a loss-making company as of now, what kind of changes that you will bring into your operation to reach break-even? You can also depict your sales figures through graph, last 3 years sales figure. Also, you can also showcase the milestone that you have achieved in last 3 years in terms of number of customers, order, cities that you have catered, how the margins have improve over the period of time. Operational plan and future roadmap. In this slide, you need to showcase what kind of cash runway you need for the next 18 to 24 months, and what kind of major milestone you will be going to achieve using these funds. If you're already in the market, show few big clients name into the slide. And if you are a pre-market startup, so you need to define your go-to-market strategy, what are the key partners in place and what kind of relationship with them, so that it will give the clear picture to the investor how will company will going to move in the coming years if he funds into the company. Next slide is related to the management and team. So it is one of the important slide, I would say, and I already mentioned that that the investor is putting up money into the company on the basis of the founder's capability or founder's enthusiasm. So this is one of the important slide, I would say. Do emphasize on your expertise, experience, how strong is your team, and what are their backgrounds, what kind of qualification and experience they hold, so that it would give the clear picture to the investor that whether the team will be able to execute into the market or not. So spend some time on that particular slide, do some homework with that slide so that it give the clear picture to the investor and make it a lucrative deal for the investor as well. Next slide is related to the funding ask. So how much investment you are seeking from that particular investors? What are the key milestones you will going to achieve with this funding? And what will be the utilization of that particular funding? For what duration you need that particular funding? And after that, what will happen with the company? You need to, put up a quick sentence about that. And at what valuation you are seeking these funds. So I think that's it with respect to the how to prepare the pitch deck. These are the key elements that you need to take care whenever you are preparing the pitch deck. In UG level college, how we can start the startup innovation self. Sorry, I didn't get this question. Rule number 76. So let's move to the next part of the session that is related to the financial model and statement analysis. So we have discussed certain things so far, like how the startup life cycle look like, what are the various avenues of the funding, and what are the prerequisites that should be in place with the startup founder whenever they are in the process of raising the fund, and how to prepare the pitch deck. So once you are done with the pitch deck, next step is to understand the overall financial statements. Like that is important for your business operations, as well as in the later stage you have to you have to go into the conversation with your financial advisor as well to prepare the financial model of a company whenever you are raising the fund, because that is essential to drive at the to come up at the valuation number of the company. So to have the holistic view of the financial statements is very crucial for the startup founder. So I'll spend some time and after that we'll wrap up. So this presentation is basically related to the understanding the financial statements. So what are financial statements? So financial statements are the end product of the financial accounting. These are the documents which provide the financial information about the company. There are the three major components of the financial statement. These are the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. So we will understand the interconnection between all these three financial statements to analyze the company properly. So what is the income statement? So income statement is a statement which tells you about the performance of the company over the period of time. It is also known as a profit and loss account. It gives you the information about the various items like revenue, expenses, profits. So how much the company have generated the revenue for the particular period of time, how much the company had made the expenses in the particular period of time, and how much profit the company has generated after deducting expenses from the revenue. So the general format of income statement looks like, first we have net revenue, and then we have cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is basically a direct cost that is involved in producing the product that will going to generate the revenue. So in terms of cost of goods sold, it can include the material cost, factory rent, wages, factory electricity, etc. When we subtract the cost of goods sold from the net revenue, we get the gross profit. And once the gross profit is place, we need to deduct the indirect expenses, and these are in the form of selling and SG&A expenses, which is also known as selling, general, and administration expenses. It can be in the form of salary, office rent, food, and advertisement, commission, travel expenses, office electricity, etc. Then if your product is not full-fledged developed, there are some R&D expenses are involved. So that is also captured under indirect expenses. If we subtract SG&A expenses and R&D expenses from the gross profit, we get the EBITDA, that is also known as earning before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Once the EBITDA is in place, we need to subtract the depreciation and amortization. Depreciation is nothing, it is a non-cash charge levied on the tangible assets, and amortization is a non-cash charge levied on the intangible assets. Then apart from that, there are other operating expenses, any expenses which is not allocated in the COGS or SG&A expenses, that is covered under other operating expenses. So if we subtract D&A and the other operating expenses from the EBITDA, we will get EBIT. EBIT is earning before interest and taxes. We need to subtract the interest expenses and earning, then we will get the earning before taxes. And in earning before taxes, we need to subtract the current income tax, we will get the PAT. So let's move to the balance sheet. Balance sheet is a statement which shows the financial position of the company at a one point of time. So balance sheet is always created at the end of the financial year, like on 31st March 2024-25, whatever. So it tells about the various components of the assets and liabilities. For example, how much cash is there in the company, how much debt is there in the company, how much equity is there in the company, how much current assets and current liability are there in the company. So the bifurcation of balance sheet is look like one side is liability, other side is assets. Assets cover the current assets, fixed assets, intangible assets. Liability covers the current liability, long-term liability, and the shareholder equity capital. So the fundamental rule of balance sheet says that total assets is equal to total liabilities plus equity. So total liabilities are basically depicting the borrowed funds, and equity are basically depicting the owner's fund. So these are the few components of the current assets. So current assets are those assets which benefit the firm within a 1 year. These are converted into cash within the one financial year. So that can be cash and cash equivalent, marketable securities, account receivable, inventories, prepaid expenses. Fixed assets are the assets which benefit to the firm for more than 1 year. These are used by the firm for more than 1 year, and they presented in the balance sheet at the historical cost. These are in the form of machine building, computers, etc. And apart from that, in the liability side, as I already mentioned, shareholder equity comes into the picture. So it is basically showing the owner's interest in the asset of the company after deducting the liabilities. So the component of shareholder equity include the authorized capital, paid up capital, and retained earnings. Next is cash flow statement. So what is cash flow statement? Cash flow statement tell about the various sources and the uses of cash. So cash flow statement tells you which are the activities which are generating cash and which are the activities which are consuming the cash. Cash flow can be divided into three major categories, that is operating, investing, and financing. So operating activities tells you how much cash the company is able to generate from its operation or the core business. Investment activities basically tells you how much assets were purchased in that particular period mentioned and how much assets were sold. Financing activities are deals with the issue and the buyback of equity, debt borrowing, and repayment and dividend payment. So this last slide is basically showing the interrelation between all the components of the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. So if you see the end product of the income statement, that is retained earning, is transferred to the balance sheets, shareholder equity capital part, and shown as retained earning here. Also, if you see the end product of the cash flow statement, that is closing cash, is transferred to the current cash under the current assets of the balance sheet. So this is the basic interrelation between all these three statements. I think that's it from my end for with respect to this today's session. If you have any question with respect to the understanding the financial statement, you can put it on the comment box. Let me just check. Many startup fails due to inefficient management of finance. How manage initially? How to make a balance between working capital and capital expenditure? Yeah, that is very nice question, I would say. So you need to plan your finances through a proper plan. Like if you are infusing fund into the company from your own, so you need to define what are the priorities with respect to utilization of funds, and with utilizing these funds, what can you achieve in terms of your company's growth. So you need to prepare a proper plan with respect to your capex and working capital requirement, and later on you can pitch the same to the investor from whom you are raising the fund, that this much of percentage will go into the capex, this much of percentage will go into the working capital, and these kind of result I can bring by utilizing these funds, and these kind of milestone that I'll achieve using these funds. So you need to prepare a proper plan, proper financial model in consultation with the financial advisor. And if you have expertise, then that is well and good. So you have a proper, in a crux, I can say that you have a proper plan in place with respect to your working capital and capex requirement. Nice lecture, sir. At which stage financial planning is needed? So, as I mentioned that once you have validated your idea, now it's time to scale up, or now it's time to work on the MVP. And angel investor are generally comes at the MVP stage, or if you have prototype in place. So that is the correct time to plan your business model or your financial projection for the next 3 or 4 years, to give a clear picture how you'll be going to utilize the money, how the company look like in the coming 3 or 4 years. So that is the basic stage to plan your financials. What can be ideal ratio uh, of working capital and capex? Look, it depends on the business, right? It varies to business and business. There is no ideal ratio of working capital and capex. Suppose if you are working on the capex heavy business model, like you are building a machine for oil and gas sector, or suppose for Indian Navy or Indian Army, or if you're working with a drone, a big giant drone that will be going to serve to the Indian Army. So the capex area will be covered initially, right? Initially you would require the material to develop that particular product that will serve the Indian Army or oil and gas sector. So it depends on the business to business, what kind of business in you are, right? If you are working on any software AI model, so in that particular business, the capex requirement will be very low, but the operational expenses will be really high. Like if you will be going to hire the good people, the good experts for that particular software, for that particular sector that you are working in, like if you are working in AI ML. So in that particular industry, the software, the people cost will be really high. So the working capital portion will be really high, and the capex will be very minimal. Like you will need a computer, a CPU, some data sets. So the capex will be very low in that particular industry, and the opex will be really high. So there is no set rule to define the ideal ratio between the opex and capex. It depends on the business. Okay, then we are at the end of this session, and we are able to complete this on time. So I would take a leave, and
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks. It was a very nice session, informative session, and a knowledgeable session. We are thankful, us
yeah,
thankful to you. Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. And at the end, I would like to thank AIC Bamu for giving this opportunity. So we will get in touch with such further interactions in the future as well. I'm available. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm logging off. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very excellent session. Very nice.
Hello, admin.
No response, admin.
Admin, I am ready with guest biodata. If there is guest, so please tell me or assist us.
Room 18.
Yes, sir.
वेट कीजिए सर, सर का माइक अनम्यूट नहीं हुआ है.
Hello.
यस
हाँ,
यस सर.
Akansha madam has already joined. Hello.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Akansha, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So, who is going to read out, Amolji? Who is going to read out the biodata?
रूम
Uh,
18.
I am ready, sir. Roll number 18.
Yeah. Okay. ठीक है. तो फिर आप मैम का बायोडाटा रीड कर लीजिए, and then accordingly she will be starting her session.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, UGC MTTC participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to introduce a truly distinguished personality among us today. We are blessed to have with us Dr. Akansha Sinha, who is the Executive Officer of the ACIC IIT ISM, Indian School of Mind Foundation, a leading organization dedicated to uplifting the life of the community, promoting sustainable livelihood.
मोरे सर में तो
हमको 30 वाला चेयर वाला तो नहीं मिला है.
होस्ट बॅकग्राऊंड मध्ये कोणीतरी बोलतंय, त्यांना थांबवायला सांगा प्लीज.
ओके 18 प्लीज बोलिए सर.
The Chief Executive Officer of the ACIC IIT ISM Foundation, a leading organization dedicated to uplifting the lower strata of the community, promoting sustainable livelihood, women's empowerment, and education. With a career of spanning over 10 years or more than 10 years, Dr. Akansha Sinha has made remarkable contribution in the field of engineering, including research. With a deep-rooted passion for social impact and track record of leadership, Dr. Sinha is committed to driving meaningful changes in the community and beyond. Dr. Akansha Sinha graduated in electrical engineering and has a master in power system engineering from IIT ISM Dhanbad. She receives a gold medal in ISMAA award and Young Researcher Award for her extremely exemplary academic performance. Moreover, she is also the Best Thesis Awardee from IIT ISM Dhanbad in 2020-21. Dr. Akansha Sinha is an impaneled board member of various leading universities and is known to inspire women and youth in conferences and seminars conducted by organizations such as BCCL, Niti Aayog, IIT ISM Dhanbad, JUT, etc. Under the leadership, ACIC continues to make a significant and lasting impact, empowering individuals and communities to thrive in an ever-changing world. We are truly honored to have such an accomplished individual with us today. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me such a warm welcome to this platform. Can for a minute, I request all the participants to switch on the camera so that I can have a look. Otherwise, it will feel like I'm talking to a wall, right? Yeah, I came to know that all the participants here are faculty. So what is your educational background? Can few of you say? Like your faculty in which department? Any one of you, please unmute and speak up.
Ma'am, assistant professor in zoology.
Okay. Okay, so I think there is a wide, diverse area of professors. Like there is not everyone is not from management.
No, ma'am, it's a multidisciplinary, ma'am.
Yes,
Some
ma'am.
from
Okay,
pharmacy,
okay,
engineering,
multidisciplinary.
commerce,
Good.
art.
Yeah. That's good to hear because I am also an engineer in electrical department. And today I am discussing the topic that is developing entrepreneurial competencies. So I'm sharing the presentation. Let me see whether it is visible to you all. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Slide change is visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so let's start this. So the topic of the presentation is developing entrepreneurial competencies. So all of us know till now, because I was going through the details, whatever you were learning in last 2 days. So everybody must be aware by now who is an entrepreneur, right? So an entrepreneur can be described as a person who has the ability to take risk, right? So what is entrepreneur? And then again, the term what comes is entrepreneurial competency. Competency is the word which might be new to this area. And today I'm discussing the same. So what happens is nowadays, because of globalization, liberalization, and privatization, the world has actually become very smaller. And globalization has significantly impacted the entrepreneurs, and because of this there are both the sides, the positive aspect as well as the negative aspect. Positive aspect is because of this globalization we have the entrepreneurs have an access to large customer base across international markets, allowing for potential revenue growth, market diversification is there, access to niche market is there. These are the benefits of globalization. However, this also comes with a drawback, and that drawback is increased competitiveness. We all know that because now it is very easy for us to import any product from other country and at a cheaper rate, why we will go for desi thing which may cost us more money. So this is the problem most of the entrepreneurs are facing nowadays. Now, out of n number of entrepreneurs, out of n number of enterprises, most of them fail, and only few enterprises are there which make it up to a bigger one. There are very few unicorns till date. Why is it so? What differentiates a successful entrepreneur from an unsuccessful one? There must be some differentiating factor that differentiates an entrepreneur from being a successful or an unsuccessful one. So this talk has been designed to tell you what is the actual differentiator. That is, what differentiates an entrepreneur from being a successful and unsuccessful one. So, it is actually the attributes, that is the qualities that an entrepreneur possesses. Whatever skill, whatever knowledge, everything is may have, the entrepreneur may have, but if he's not having traits, the attributes to be an entrepreneur, then everything will be in vain. So, we will discuss entrepreneurial competencies in today's session. What is this competency? This competency is the distinguishing feature to help an entrepreneur perform better or worse in his area. Now, the concept of competence and competency. Now the concept of, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
The
madam.
concept of competence and competency.
Yes.
At times, we must think that competence and competency, both the words are same. Right. Competence means, what does competence means? It is the underlying characteristic of an entrepreneur through which they perform well. Now here, what is the meaning of underlying characteristic? Underlying characteristic means skill as well as the knowledge that entrepreneur proposes, and based on these two qualities, they perform better in their area. Now, we have another term called competency. United Nations Industrial Development Corporation, that is UNIDO, has defined competency as skills, knowledge, and other attributes. Means the difference between competence and competency is here, competence had only skills and knowledge, but competency has other attributes. What are these attributes? And these attributes make entrepreneur a successful one. So this is the basic difference between competence and competency. However, both competency as well as competence, both are interrelated, because competence means a work is done at its best, and competency means how that particular work is done. Competence means you are doing something. Competency, how you are using your personal trait to achieve that particular goal. This is the basic difference. And here, what are those personal traits that an entrepreneur must possess to achieve success in their life is the topic of today's session. It is to be noted that competence is skill-based, while competency is always behavioral in nature. Competence covers the standard attains in one's life, whereas competency means what are the steps he has taken to achieve that standard. Competence means what is measured, and competency means how that particular thing is measured. Or in a very simple term, it can say that competence means what people can do. Competency means how that can be done. So both these terms are very much interrelated, and both of them help in the field, in the areas of an entrepreneur to be a stable one. So here comes competency. Competency is composed, this is a definition of competency, that is knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics which underlie effective or successful job performance. Now, competency, if we talk on mathematical terms, it is visible that competency means competence plus commitment, where competence means knowledge and skills, and commitment means the inner belief, that is motivation. So this is basically what is the difference, or what is the relation between competence and competency. Competence means knowledge and skills, and competency is including commitment in the same word, competence. These are the attributes of entrepreneurial competency. What are the attributes of entrepreneurial competency? So again, we have discussed the first one is knowledge. So knowledge, all of us know what is knowledge. We go through book and we acquire knowledge from there. Knowledge means gathering information and retention of gathered information. हम कहीं से बुक पढ़ लिए और उस चीज को हमने अच्छे से समझ लिया, और अब हम उस टॉपिक को चाहेंगे कि हम अपने करियर में यूज करके हम एक बड़ा बिजनेस सेटअप कर दें. दिस इज नॉलेज. Knowledge is just to gather information and use that information to complete your task. Okay, so it sounds that knowledge is the most important attribute of entrepreneurial competency, but it is not so. Why? Because you all might have heard about a movie called Atbar. It was the only production venture of Tata. This movie has been produced by Ratan Tata and it had a casting of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Still, the movie failed. Why? Because Mr. Ratan Tata has done a lot of research work on paper, but when it came to use his knowledge in the area, in the field of Bollywood, he failed. So it is very good to have knowledge, but knowledge without skill is nothing. So let's come to the second attribute of entrepreneurial competency, that is skill. So here, what is skill? Skill means demonstration. How you demonstrate your knowledge. In other words, we can say skill is the sequence of behavior through which an entrepreneur applies his knowledge and create a system that can be observed by others. Skill. So skill is how you apply your knowledge. Only having knowledge will not do. You have at least some experience or field experience. Like all of us are here as working as assistant professors, but when it comes for to teach, to give children some hands-on experience of field work, we somehow somewhere lag at that point of time. Why? Because we are not having that much practical knowledge in that particular topic. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, it is very important to have skill, to have some experience in that particular topic, and then go ahead with an enterprise. And the third attribute of entrepreneurial competency is motive. What is motive? Now, among all the three attributes, knowledge, skill, the third one is motive, which is the most important attribute. If an entrepreneur has knowledge, very good. If he has skill, better. But if he lacks motive, अगर उसको लगता है कि मैं तेज हूं, मेरे पास नॉलेज है तो मैं कर लूंगा, तो इट विल नॉट डू. एंटरप्रेन्योर के पास एक मोटिव होना इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. Motive means his attitude, his behavior to achieve the goal. So motivation is very much important. Continuous motivation will only lead to successful entrepreneurship. So the person who is behind successful performance of an enterprise is called entrepreneur, and the caliber required to carry on his business successfully is called his competency. So these are the attributes of entrepreneurial competency. Now, the components of competence and commitment. So we all have heard right now that what is competence? Competence means commitment. It is amalgamation of commitment as well as motive. So what are the components of commitment? It's technical skills. That is all. We will be discussing these points later in the later slides also. But here, the major component of commitment is technical skills, business knowledge, communication skills, leadership quality, team building skills, decision making skills, time management skills. Here, these are skills which are inbuilt. Like there are people who are born with these qualities, leadership qualities, great time management skill. There are some people who are very punctual, while there are some people who are not. So these skills, technical, who are very much technically sound, who are very good in communication. So these are the skills that people already have. So this is the component of commitment. Next one is component of motive. Now these are the components that can be injected into an entrepreneur. ये सारी चीजें अगर entrepreneur में नहीं होंगी तो उनको मोटिवेशन के थ्रू उनके अंदर ये सारी चीजें डाली जानी चाहिए. सेल्फ बिलीफ एंड कॉन्फिडेंस. We all know that an entrepreneur must be confident. If he is not a confident person, that means while pitching his idea in front of investors, he is not having that much confidence of his idea. Then how will the investor will believe what he is pitching about? So confidence is the major factor that an entrepreneur must possess. Hard-working spirit and integrity. Integrity is a major factor because nowadays people are lagging such things. Integrity. That means they are not honest to their jobs. So integrity is very important factor. You should, whatever you are doing, you should do it with truthfulness. Dedication. The entrepreneur must have an attitude to learn. There are many of us who think, and especially when it comes, we are working with entrepreneurs. So it is very common with us to see that there are entrepreneurs who think that they are the best, their idea is best, and they don't want to take any thing from others. So this is a very negative attribute of an entrepreneur, and this must be omitted if a person wants to be successful. He must be keen to learn because as a person, we should always remember that everybody knows and we should listen to everyone. Perseverance, positive attitude. The entrepreneur must be result oriented. That means he must focus on the result. Sometimes there are startups, there are entrepreneurs who come to us and they are very happy with their ideas and they are doing what they are doing. They are not focused ki what revenue they are generating. They don't bother about money or anything just because they are good, they are having good financial support from their parents. So this is not a trait of pursuit of entrepreneur. Entrepreneur must be result oriented. That means he should concentrate on profit making or how to grow his idea or enterprise. So these are the features of entrepreneurial competencies. Entrepreneurial competency can be acquired through information and practice. So we will discuss the basic traits or whatever is required, how to develop entrepreneurial competency in the upcoming slides. And then we will come to over an activity which will be an interesting one. So let's start with components of entrepreneurial competencies. First one is networking. So what do you mean by networking? An entrepreneur must be good at networking. This means that nowadays we know that there are lots of See, first one is refine your interpersonal skills. This means be approachable, be confident, be friendly. Be confident and be friendly is okay, but be approachable is very unique feature that entrepreneurs possess. There are many people whom we feel shy to call. There are people who are very good in their work, but we feel very shy to call them कि पता नहीं वो बताएगा कि नहीं, पता नहीं उसे पूछना सही होगा कि नहीं. Those people are not approachable. So as an entrepreneur, he or she must be approachable. He or she should be keep himself open to listen to and to help others. Next point is connect with other entrepreneurs. So this is very important because nowadays there are platforms like LinkedIn, there is Twitter. So there are community also in those particular platforms. There are real-time platforms, and we can create lists that what we can see. Create a list with hashtag on topics relevant to our idea. Create another with top entrepreneurs we admire. So like this, we can use the social networking platforms to connect with other entrepreneurs. And suppose if others are also doing what you are doing, then it is better to join hand with that particular person so that grow your idea or enterprise into a bigger one. Next one is join communities. Join community. Join community is very much important. So what is join community? Whenever people surf Facebook, you can see that there is an option join community, isn't it? So we have seen the option like community. So try to find out the community that is relevant to your idea. And if there is no community as such, try to create one community so that it may help you to take your idea to a grander one. Next one is make a book list. There are many, sometimes the entrepreneurs are happy in their four walls doing what they are doing. There is a startup here in our campus also. There is a person who is not interested in going anywhere. They are doing whatever they are doing in their house. And whenever we invite them to the startup meets or we ask them to go to attend some summit, they are not at all interested in doing the same. So what happens? Because of this, they are losing the entrepreneurial tendency because we have heard the word कुआं का मेढक. So such entrepreneurs are like that only. They are not at all ready to share their idea, or they are not ready to take idea from anybody else. Practice resilience. Now, this is very important point because we should learn from things that don't work. As an entrepreneur, it is a fact. It is a fact that you will fail in first or 2 years. In first 2 years, you will be a failure. Your idea will fail. कोई भी entrepreneur 1 या 2 साल के अंदर प्रॉफिट नहीं कमाने लगता है. तो फेल करना बहुत स्वाभाविक है. लेकिन अगर बहुत इस फेलियर से अगर आप हार जाएंगे और आप अपने स्ट्रैटेजी को बार बार चेंज करते रहेंगे तो दैट विल नॉट वर्क. You have to practice resilience. That means you have to learn from your failure. Challenges happen, and if things don't go to plan, you need to work out why, so you don't fail at the same thing twice. Yes, you may fail. Regular retros where you look at what went well, what didn't go well, and solutionize can help document and mitigate risks. So I will give you an example here of Steve Jobs. So can anybody tell me who is Steve Jobs?
Founder of Apple.
Yeah, Mr. Steve Jobs is the founder of, yes, he is the founder of Apple. So his story is related to this practice resilience. So he poured all his time and money and formed Apple One computer, and he developed Apple One computer. and it was a big failure. He was able to sell only 175 units of that particular computer. Then what happened is he had hired a CEO, John Scully, in his same company. And what happened is the CEO sued him from his own company, means CEO ने ही उसको उसकी कंपनी से निकाल के बाहर कर दिया. So now what this Mr. Steve Jobs did, he bought Pixar. He wanted to make it a hardware company. Pixar से वो चाहते थे कि वो एक अगेन कंप्यूटर बनाना शुरू करे, लेकिन उसमें इतना सारा इंटरवेंशंस इनोवेशंस करते करते इट बिकेम एन एनिमेशन स्टूडियो एंड डिज्नी ने पिक्सर को $7.4 बिलियन में खरीदा. सो दिस इज अ वेरी बिग अचीवमेंट ऑफ मिस्टर स्टीव जॉब्स. अगर वो फर्स्ट केस में जब उनका कंप्यूटर एप्पल 1 जो बना था जिसमें 175 यूनिट्स ही सेल हुआ था, अगर वो उतने में ही हार के अपना आइडिया को छोड़ के कुछ और प्रैक्टिस करने लग जाते तो इट वुड नॉट हैव बीन डन. सो resilience is very important. You will fail, and yes, everybody fails in first or two attempts, but then persistency is the key. You have to be persistent in your idea, with your idea, and you have to believe your idea, because if you will not believe, how will others believe what is there in your idea? Then make a book list. Make a book list means whatever you hear, whatever you learn, there are people who will suggest you to go through this book. There is a book recently written by Mr. Ashleen Grover on entrepreneurship. So try to read all the books, try to watch movies which are related to entrepreneurship, and make a point, maintain a book, make some entry कि what आपने उस particular मूवी से या पर्टिकुलर बुक से क्या लिया, आपको उस बुक का या उस मूवी का क्या पॉइंट अच्छा लगा, तो आप उसको लेकर आप एक प्रॉपर एंट्री कर सकते हैं डेटा का. सो दिस इज सो नेटवर्किंग इज फर्स्ट एंड foremost important component of entrepreneurial competencies. Next is finance. Now comes finance. That is very again very important point. Finance. The first point is pay yourself. Pay yourself means अपने आप को पेमेंट देना है. If suppose you are running a very small business, it can be tempting to put everything into your day-to-day operations, because what happens is अभी हमारे स्टार्टअप डे, हमारा कुछ दिन पहले on 16th January we celebrated startup day, and there were few entrepreneurs जो ये कह रहे थे कि मैम हम अपना कुछ भी नहीं बचाते हैं, हम जो भी मेरे पास पैसे आते हैं हम सब स्टार्टअप में लगा देते हैं. बट दिस इज अ रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस. This is wrong practice. You must pay yourself. The entrepreneurs must reward themselves. अगर वो अपने आप को एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अगर अपने आप को रिवॉर्ड नहीं करेंगे और अगर मान लीजिए 3 से 4 साल में वो स्टार्टअप बंद हो जाता है, तो वो पूरा 3-4 साल आपने अपने को कुछ दिया ही नहीं. That is, hence you should pay yourself. अगर कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हो तो अपने आप को बोनस भी दो. The entrepreneurs वो भी अपनी पीठ को खुद थपथपाना. That is pay yourself. To help to this is for motivation, to motivate yourself कि आप जो कर रहे हो वो अच्छा कर रहे हो. Remember, you are part of business and you need to compensate yourself as much as you pay for others. जैसे आप अपने employees को pay करते हो, try to compensate yourself as well. Now, second point is invest in growth. It's important to set aside money and look into growth opportunities. This is very important. Here, growth doesn't mean growth of money. There are enterprises which are growing very nicely in terms of money, but what they do is they lack vision. They are only focused on profit. क्या होता है, एक टाइम के बाद सैचुरेशन आ जाता है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट सैचुरेशन वो पर्टिकुलर एंटरप्राइज आगे ग्रो नहीं करता है. तो यहाँ पे व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ ग्रोथ? हियर ग्रोथ मीन्स you have to use your idea in innovation and attract the best employees to demonstrate, because growth means you have to invest in innovation, you have to attract more and better employees. Otherwise, हमने बहुत सारे केसेस ऐसे देखे हैं, जो जैसे कोडैक कैमरा हो गया, जो बहुत बड़ी बड़ी big very there are very many big companies who were doing very well initially, but because of because of stubborn nature, you can say, या फिर lack of vision of the founder, वो business had came to an end. So invest in growth means invest in hiring better and better employees for your company. Invest in innovation, that is, do some R&Ds to make your product better and better. Third one is take loans. We had few days back a scheme called Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, in which we got rupees 4 crore from the center. Now we had to distribute this 4 crore amount to the startups as loan, and to my surprise, many startups who had been selected, they refused to take loan. However, the rate of interest was very small. It was merely the 6.8%, that is the repo rate of RBI. So it was, but still, the startups refused to take loan. So there is a worry among the startups that if they will take loan, they will not be able to repay it in future. This is not actually the truth. Loans can lead business owners to worry about financial repercussions of failure. However, without the influx of capital you obtain from loan, you may face substantial challenges when trying to purchase equipment or grow your team. Isn't it? Because in case they will not take loan, but if they need some big machines, they are not having fund to purchase, to procure that machine, and their enterprise is going on lack of cash flow. तो इसके वजह से आप जो स्टार्टअप है वो लॉस में जा रहा है. तो that वो because of actually this happens because they are not far sighted. The entrepreneurs, those who refuse to take loans, they are not far sighted. They think loan as other way. However, loan is always helpful for an entrepreneur at a negotiable rate, is always helpful for entrepreneurs. Next is keep good business credit. Suppose if a company wants, if the company has done something really good for themselves and now they want to expand their business, they must have a good business credit, because it will help the bankers or other investors to believe in your company. Otherwise, this will not be the case if there is not a good business credit. Have a good billing strategy. Now, every business owner has a client that is consistently late on their invoices and payments. There are people, since we are from the same field, we do have clients who are not paying on time. There are people who, after numerous reminders through mails, through telephones, we send them lots and lots of reminders, but they are not at all ready to do the payment. So what if an entrepreneur is in such difficulty, and the entrepreneurs are initially having a small firm, and agar koi bada amount of money stuck ho gaya hai, then what to do? So in such cases, there is a payment term called 2 by 10 net 30. 2 by 10 net 30. This means that if the customer pays the invoice within 10 days, they receive a 2% discount of the total bill. अगर आप 10 दिन के अंदर ये इनवॉइस फिल कर देते हो तो you will have a 2% discount. If not, you have to pay the full amount in 30 days. So this can be a good billing strategy, especially for the client who are prone of making late payments. Next is monitor your books. This is obvious practice and it's very important. Although all the entrepreneurs are having a bookkeepers, but they must themselves monitor the books. Like they must sit with the bookkeepers and then try to see what transactions has been done in 1 month, and then evaluate the transaction, what cost cutting can be done, on what areas more money can be generated or more money can be utilized. So being a successful entrepreneur is one who keeps a good record of his books. Next is personal attributes. Personal attributes we have already discussed, that is the competence and commitment. So initiation and vigilance. Initiation is important factor, as we all know that an entrepreneur must take initiative. There are people who are vigilant, means they must, excuse me, there are people who are vigilant. This means that they must be able to uh, they must be foresighted enough to see कि उनके बिजनेस में आगे क्या खतरा आने वाला है और उसको वो कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे. तो एक्सक्यूज मी फॉर मिनट. हेलो, आप 4th फ्लोर सीआरई बिल्डिंग आ जाइए. Next one is confidence and self-esteem, which is definitely very much important for an entrepreneur. Because if a team, next one is growth mindset. There must be a mindset of growth, because if the entrepreneur is having a mindset, a saturated mindset, then his startup may fail someday. So a need, an urge that your startup, your invention needs growth, continuous growth is very much important. Then strong vision. This is very important. Strong vision means if suppose there is an entrepreneur who is not having vision कि मेरा आइडिया जो अभी मैंने बनाया है वो 10 साल बाद मुझे नहीं पता वो क्या होगा. आपको खुद के आइडिया के बारे में पता होना चाहिए कि आप अपने आप को 10 years के बाद कहाँ देखते हो. So an entrepreneur must have strong vision. Entrepreneur must be an efficient manager. Efficient manager means the entrepreneur must must know how to manage his employees, how to plan all the day, how to plan his whatever is in their books, whatever ideas that are in their mind. Entrepreneurs should know how to manage them efficiently. Next is convincing and persuasive personality. This is also very important, because अगर आप एक पेन बेच रहे हो तो आपको उस पेन में कुछ ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट करना है, सामने वाले को ऐसा उसको परसुएट करना है सो दैट उसको लगे कि आपका पेन ही दुनिया में सबसे अच्छा पेन है. तो as an entrepreneur, this is a very important personality trait, that is persuasive and convincing. He or she must know how to convince the person who is sitting in front of himself. There are a lot of angel investors who ask, why will I pay? Why will I use my money in your idea? Why will I invest in your idea? So the entrepreneur must be confident enough, must be confident enough, must be vigilant enough to share what are the idea, how and why his idea is the best, and why people will invest on his idea. So personal attributes can be injected, and it is developed with time. Initially, entrepreneurs lack such attributes, but with time, they are having all such attributes. And as a CEO of a startup venture, or you can say incubation center, I have seen there are a lot of people 4 years back. There are the entrepreneurs who were 4 years back and how they are now. There is a lot of difference in their attributes, and this has become because over the time they have learned how to cope with risk, how to cope with other negative features and everything. So there is an improvement in their personal attributes. Next is creativity and innovation. This is creativity and innovation has already, I have told that you must keep on creating and co-creating your idea, recreating your invention. So first is explore this different perspectives. One way to enhance your creativity is to expose yourself to different perspectives and experiences. You can do this by reading, watching, listening, or interacting with diverse sources of information and inspiration. For example, if a person joins TED Talk or listen to podcast or network with people from different backgrounds, then he's listening to their perspective, and then he's exploring their ideas and adopting his ideas into their. Now, experiment and learn from failure. This is very important. I have already discussed one example of Mr. Steve Jobs, how he learned from his failure and held his startup to a bigger one. So keep on experimenting. For all entrepreneurs and for all the teachers out here, if any entrepreneur, if any person comes to up to you and he is having his idea is not as good as you are expecting, so don't let them down. Just just motivate them, help them, and tell them that this is a trait of an entrepreneur to learn from failure. Collaborate and co-create. This means that if suppose through social networking sites you have developed lots of communities and there are a lot of people who are working in your area only, so the best idea is to collaborate. Maybe you can keep someone as a mentor in your company, and you can keep find out some investor for your company. So collaboration is a need of our, because right nowadays there are n number of companies, there are n number of competitions out there. So without collaboration, without listening to others, yeah, without adopting others ideas, nothing will be going to happen. Collaboration is a must. Next is reflect and improve. This means that don't be stubborn for your idea. Suppose in the first year your idea, the startup's idea fails, then he must reflect himself and come back with a bang. He should improve himself in whatever area. He should learn where he is lagging, where his idea, where his invention is lagging. He should read lots of books. He should consult lots of mentors, and then he should come back with an improved version of himself. Next is systematic planning. What is systematic planning? This trait is commitment to work contact. Like as already mentioned, this is punctuality. If suppose you say someone that you will do this work by this particular time and the entrepreneur is not able to do that, suppose if a big order comes and the entrepreneur takes that order and says the goods will be delivered to particular date or time and he is not able to do, then the company will never contact that particular enterprise for the same. So commitment to work contract is very much important. Whatever commitment you are giving, you must stick to that. And moreover learn to say no. अगर कोई बहुत बड़ा ऑर्डर आ गया है तो ये लालच में कि मुझे ये ऑर्डर करना है, मेरा बड़ा नाम हो जाएगा, don't say yes to that, because it will not do. If you will not be able to do that, तो आपने उस कंपनी से हमेशा के लिए आप पीछे हो गए. वो कंपनी अब आपको कभी अप्रोच नहीं करेगी किसी भी ऑर्डर के लिए नहीं. तो जब आपको लगे कि आप उस तरह के ऑर्डर्स को ले सकते हैं, you have done any commitment, then only say yes to that particular commitment. Concern for high quality of work. This is very important. Integrity already discussed. Be honest, because this is the distinguishing factor between a successful entrepreneur or a successful enterprise and an unsuccessful enterprise. Why do people look for high quality products? सबको एप्पल का फोन ही क्यों चाहिए? Why not they look for us other mobile phones? क्योंकि we always have a concern for high quality of work, high quality of product. Everybody, so try to make your idea, try to make your innovation in such a way कि people should talk about the quality. अगर आप इनिशियल डेज में अपने प्रोडक्ट का वैल्यू बहुत कम, प्राइस बहुत कम रखते हो, आप लॉस खा के भी प्राइस कम रख रहे हो, तो लेटर ऑन पीपल विल थिंक दैट दिस प्रोडक्ट इज वेरी, एक जनरल माइंडसेट होता है लोगों का कि चीप है तो इट विल नॉट बी अप टू द मार्क. तो ट्राई कि आप जो भी प्रोडक्ट, जो भी इन्वेंशन कर रहे हो, उसका वैल्यू करो और खुद को पहले वैल्यू पता होनी चाहिए. अगर आप अपने प्रोडक्ट का वैल्यू खुद से नहीं करोगे तो कंज्यूमर विल नेवर डू दैट, बिकॉज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर players in the same field. Nobody will be doing to value your products. So the product, whatever an entrepreneur is developing, must be of high quality. Next is efficiency orientation. That means you must be whatever the lines have been discussed, you must be oriented towards 100% efficiency. If not 100%, at least 90%. An entrepreneur must be efficient enough. Risk taking and risk management, this I think the topic has been discussed in previous sessions. Entrepreneur must have the ability to take risk, should have, because risk taking is very important. As I already said, कि first 2 years में as a startup you will fail, but if you don't have the ability to take risk and you don't know how to manage that risk, it will not going to do. So this is very important attribute, that is risk taking and risk management. Okay, so now let us go for an activity. I request all of you to please switch on your camera so that it will be good for me to look at you. Just for 5 minutes, I think we will be doing this activity. Yeah. So I'm giving you 5 minutes time. In these 5 minutes time, you have to think. I have mentioned 14 qualities in the leftmost column. And out of these 14 qualities, you have to tell me what, just a minute. And out of these 14 qualities, you have to tell me what 3 qualities, according to you, are most important for an entrepreneur, and what 3 qualities, according to you, is least important for an entrepreneur. Just, I have listed the 14 qualities. आपको बताना है इन 14 क्वालिटीज में कौन सी 3 क्वालिटी है जो आपको लगता है एंटरप्रेन्योर में होनी ही चाहिए, और कौन सी 3 क्वालिटीज है जिसके ना होने से भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. So these are the 14 qualities: high academic qualification, physical fitness, need to achieve, creativity, competitiveness, persistence, leadership, organizing ability, need to have power over others, desire for money, independence, coverage, positive outlook. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि कोई पॉइंट आप नहीं समझ रहे हो, if you're not able to understand any of the 14 qualities, then you can please ask me.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Qualities required are essential for the entrepreneur. The
Yes.
creativity, competitiveness, persistence, and positive outlook.
Okay. And least important?
Least important. One more, which is required, leadership and organizing ability. That should be there.
Okay.
And high academic qualification, that is least important. And that depends in which industry you are going to invest, as
Okay.
well as need to have power over others. That is least important.
Yes, correct. Okay. Okay, good,
Okay.
man.
That
Yeah, so I want to hear from others as well.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
So most important is the creativity, madam, competence, positive attitude, and in the most least in high academic qualification, need to have a power over others and independence.
Yes, very good, very good. So अभी तक जो दो लोगों से मैंने सुना, the common thing is most least important is need to have power over others, right? Need to have power over others means you don't need to suppress others. So the both of them have said very valid points. I want few more. Anybody else who want to raise?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I have also posted in the chat box, creativity need to achieve leadership are the most important, and physical fitness need to have power and organizing ability. According to me, they are the least important.
Okay, why have you listed physical fitness in least
Because
importance?
if you take an example of Stephen Hawking, he was not physically fit. Still, he was
Okay.
the means he had managed everything, and he had discovered the black hole. So I think physical fitness is not that
Yes,
much
this is
important
this
for
is a very,
achieving
very
an
good
average.
point, because sometimes though the people who are not physically very fit, they use this, वो negative को भी positive करने के लिए वो और ज्यादा try करते हैं to
Exactly, and
prove
there are many
themselves.
businesses. Yeah, and there are many businesses that can be done without having physical fitness, like trading in shares or other things are also.
Yes, yes, yes. Very well said. Very well said.
Thank you.
So one or two more, and then we'll go further.
Ma'am, creativity, leadership, persistence, and independence are the most required, most important. And the list is high academic qualification, physical fitness, and need to have power over others.
Okay, so why have you included high academic qualification? Can you say?
Ma'am, creativity is most important first, because once you are creative, you will achieve specific thing which is in your mind, and
Yes.
you can create it. By learning, you can experience, but you can't
Yes.
create.
And you have said that high academic qualification as least important. Why?
Yeah, I said that's why, because the creativity is there. Many of least academic background people have achieved remarkable, um, we can say, Dhirubhai
Can you name one? Actually, I'm looking for that only. Yeah.
Ambani is one of the person
Yes.
has shown the world, कर लो दुनिया मुट्ठी में.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's
So,
why.
हाँ, वो पैशन होना चाहिए. पैशन होना ही entrepreneur को आगे लेके जाता है. Nothing else. Academic qualification, and you can hire people from academics. But until and unless there is motivation to take your startup to a bigger level, nothing will do. Okay, so next is steps to develop entrepreneurial competencies. Now, how do we judge whether a startup is entrepreneurial competent enough or not? Whether a person is competent enough as a startup mentor or not? So first, competency identification and recognition. So what is competency identification? So sign करवाना है. हाँ. Just a minute. कहाँ पे बेटा? यहाँ इधर कर यहाँ तक ले जाते हैं। ठीक है। So competency identification and recognition. Suppose a person or an entrepreneur comes to you and you have to assess whether he is having the traits of entrepreneur or not. So how you will assess? So first step is identification and recognition. Suppose in this you have to search for the elements that need to complete this task effectively and successfully. For example, suppose there is a startup who is running a manufacturing enterprise. So, as an incubation, your as a mentor, you have to check whether he has knowledge about production process or not. Or suppose a startup who is running automobile service center, then as you have to check whether he is good at service delivery, whether he is good at relationship management or not. So you have to, the first step is to identify that what is the key attribute of that particular entrepreneur. And once this identification is done, next step is competency assessment. After identification recognition of entrepreneurial competencies, next step is assistance of competency. This step includes accessing the already possessed competency of an entrepreneur so that these can be compared with standards. This means that suppose here I'll take you to the next slide. See, this is the slide for competency assessment. Suppose just try to have a questionnaire with yourself. Make 10, 20, 30 questions with yourself and then ask the startup or the entrepreneur to write the answer for that. Suppose I look for the things that need to be done. If the startup says 5, that means very well. If the startup gives number 4, well. Number 3, somewhat. 2, little. 1, not at all. Means I look for things that need to be done. If the startup says 1 marks, not at all. Means he lacks commitment. Right? This means अगर वो 1 marks दे रहा है इस point को, इसका मतलब है कि वो commitment वाला startup नहीं होगा. और अगर वो 5 दे रहा है, this means you can see, you can rate him that yes, he is a startup who will be, he will keep his promises for future. Second is, suppose I like, these are just example of questionnaire. I like challenges and new opportunities. So just on the basis of on looking at the rating of startup, you just try to make out what kind of a person he is. Normally there are people who will rate 5 points in all the question, all the answers. Then it will be very clear that he is vague. He is not filling the questionnaire with his willpower or with his heart. तो उस समय तो उसको एक्सेस करना ही नहीं है, उस तरह के स्टार्टअप्स या एंटरप्रेन्योर्स का आइडिया को सीधे सीधे एलिमिनेट कर देना है. Ask him to do this questionnaire with integrity. Then only an honest assessment will be done. So, next one is competency mapping. Competency mapping means how now once the assessment is done, किसी स्टार्टअप ने बोला कि बाकी सब चीज में बहुत अच्छा है पर उसको और कुछ क्रिएटिविटी में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. बाकी हर चीज में करेगा बट ही विल नॉट लुक फॉर न्यू इंटरवेंशंस इन द सेम एरिया. तो इसका मतलब वो इस पर्टिकुलर कॉम्पिटेंसी एट्रीब्यूट में लैक कर रहा है एंड एज अ मेंटर वी हैव टू teach him how, or we have to inject this particular attribute to that entrepreneur. So this is competency mapping. whatever after identification and recognition of competency and accessing the level of possessed competency, next step is mapping. At this step, already possessed competencies are compared with required set of competencies which are important to be a successful entrepreneurs. So, how this mapping is done? A popular tool is skill to do and will to do. Skill to do means the ability of entrepreneur to perform enterprise task or job, and will to do means his motivation to do that job. अगर उसको will to do में ज़्यादा marks आया है, that means the entrepreneur is on right path. On the basis of this chart, competency deficiencies are identified. यहाँ तक थर्ड स्टेप में हमने deficiencies को identify कर लिया कि किस किस पॉइंट पे वो लैग कर रहा है और कहाँ पर उसको mentorship की आवश्यकता है. And the final is development intervention. Here we will implement ideas, we will design courses, or we will ask him to read particular books जिससे कि या फिर we will assign particular mentors जिससे कि the startup या the entrepreneur who is lagging will be able to take up to that and do better for his future work. So these are the 4 points and the ways to develop entrepreneurial competencies among the startup. Now, whatever we have discussed till now was everything on book. Now I will discuss actually what we are doing in our organization, how we are identifying entrepreneurs, what are the steps we are following to identify an entrepreneur. So this is the framework we are following at ACIC IIT ISM Dhanbad. So again, I have told, first, there are a list of people. We just go to villages, we just go to rural areas, people with having rural backgrounds. We just go there and then we ask them to please come up and attend some workshop that we are conducting. I'll show you some pictures of the same. See. This is a process of selection of entrepreneurs. What we do is we go to villages and the native locations of Jharkhand or whatever nearby areas, and then we ask the people what you are good at and what training you want to take. Like there is an area which is very good in agriculture. The people are growing flowers as well as tomatoes. Lots of things people are growing. So what our center is doing is identify a set of people who are interested to take over. Like they are now, see what happens is when you as a farmer, a person is selling a tomato, it's rupees 20 per kg or whatever is the price. But once the tomato is converted into tomato sauce, the price will automatically raise. So this is what we are doing. We are training the startups or the people how to add values to the products that they are already having. Here you can see all the pictures. This picture here is from a village in I think the name of the village is Tundi, and here the people, they were good in bamboo. They were only making winnowing trays and bamboo baskets. But now what we are doing is we train them to make bamboo handicrafts like lampshades and beautiful flower vase. So because of this, they have a now they are having a decent standard of living. Whatever they were used to sell at rupees 50, now they are selling better products and at rupees 400 to 500 per piece, per unit. So this is the way we are actually selecting entrepreneur. And out of the whole group, suppose there is a batch of 30, we create a batch of 30, we train them, and then we look what out of those 30 people who actually possess the traits of entrepreneur. So out of those 30, we we shortlist 2 to 3 people, and then we ask them to open a company and become an entrepreneur and go ahead with his idea. See, this is another thing. There are women who were good who were domestic helpers. Here you can see most of the women initially were domestic helpers, but we have trained them in diverse sectors like designing using waste paper to make lots of diaries. Nowadays there are lots of things which are being made of paper pulps. So we have trained them in all the fields. In jute, the training is done. In this way, we are identifying entrepreneurs from the people who belong to the community. Next is conducting workshops. We are also see. I was talking about the women who were in agricultural sector and growing tomatoes. So now they are They are selling tomato sauce with the help of training here conducted at our sector. LAC, all of us know about LAC, that is La. So we have conducted workshop on LAC, and then the women are making good bangles as well as other products from LAC buttons, which are exported also. So there were farmers who were growing marigold flowers. So now they are making soaps, perfumes, and a lot of things with those particular agricultural produces. And there is a success story also. There are a lot of success stories actually. There was a self-help group here. There is a self-help group, that's Asmita. And there were ladies who belonged to the sauce one, I already told. And now just have a look at their packaging. The farmers who were initially selling marigold, now they have converted it into soaps. We have developed perfumes as well as balms with eucalyptus oil. So these are lots of success stories which are actually uh, in our credit, and we are actually working very hard to identify entrepreneurs from the community. So basically you can say that developing entrepreneurial competencies is a topic that is taken by most of the incubation centers or as an assistant professors. We should also try to help our students or to direct our students to plan something as an entrepreneur, to start up their own venture, because in future we know that the jobs are limited, and to have their own startup will definitely be good to them. Yeah, so this is all from my side. If any queries or if anybody is having any question, then they are welcome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. I propose my sincere thanks to ma'am for Dr. Akansha Sinha, ma'am, CEO, ACIC, Dhanwad. Ma'am, you are doing very good job for the welfare of the society, especially in the rural area.
Thank you.
They are the real inventor.
Yeah, that's true. And recently, you won't believe there is a mechanic here in Dhanbad, and he has developed one EV, that is electric vehicle. There are faculty from electrical engineering here. They were shocked कि we cannot make electric vehicle, and a mechanic उसने बना दिया. तो entrepreneur कहीं से भी आ सकते हैं. It is not कि वो बहुत highest academic qualification होना चाहिए.
Yes, ma'am, it's very true. Really, I appreciate your efforts to give us such an enlightened knowledge regarding entrepreneurship. Even though some of us we are from different fields, we are having not that much educational background for such a work which you are doing. But we are very glad to hear from your side that this is the place where we can do, at least we can support the people, those who are interested in doing this.
Yes, yes.
On behalf of all of our students, all of our participants, I say my gratitude. Thanks to you. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so shall I leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, participants, for being patient.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Host, is there any instruction to us, or we shall leave, or you end the meeting from your side?
Session is completed.
Yes, sir.
अमोल जी 15 मिनट बचे हैं तो 15 मिनट पहले हम ये सेशन क्लियर कर देते, मतलब क्लोज कर देते हैं एंड नेक्स्ट वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग एट 3 o'clock. Will it be okay? या 3:15 करें? 3:15 करते हैं. So I will ask the speaker to join at 3:15. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
तो 3 o'clock हम सारे पार्टिसिपेंट ज्वाइन कर जाएंगे. बाकी जो हमारा अटेंडेंस का पार्ट है वो 3 to 3:15 के बीच में कर लेंगे एंड 3:15 पे देन स्पीकर विल ज्वाइन एंड दे विल स्टार्ट द सेशन.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So I have already shared the recent and updated schedule for this whole training program or the remaining programs. So to avoid any kind of a misconfusion that who will be speaker and who is going to take the session. So I think everyone has got that schedule in the WhatsApp group.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So अमोल जी क्लोज कर लीजिए सेशन को. Okay, we can conclude now.
We can end the meeting by ourselves. We can delete ourselves. So we can out it.
त्याच्याखाली अच्छा त्याचं कसं त्याच्या नावानं आरशी नाही आहे वडिलांच्या नावानं आहे नाव असं त्याचं मी सोबतच त्याला आणलं सिग्नेचर व्हाउचर झालं आणि हा ट्रॅव्हलिंगचा फॉर्मॅट ट्रॅव्हलिंगचं सोडून दिलं आपण समजा कारण की त्याला आपण त्याच्या नावानं आरशी नाही आहे ते म्हणे कार घेऊन येतो वगैरे आपण सोबत जो वगैरे तर मी म्हटलं बा आरशी नाही आहे सोबत म्हणजे त्याच्या नावानं तर मग कसं ते उगीच जाईल पैशाचा काही विषय नाही म्हणे मी म्हटलं आपल्या सोबतच चला ना बा म्हणजे असं आहे ते आपल्याला नाही कळलं तर मी सह्या करून देतो घेऊन घेतो जे करायचं ते पाहून घेतो